Sometimes the loudest person in the room got the least going on. Real power moves don't need announcements. When you stay silent and keep stacking, the results gonna speak for themselves. Success don't chase noise. It comes to those who move with patience, discipline, and vision. When you start to understand the value of silence, you begin to see how powerful it really is in protecting your vision. Think about it, most people talk too much about their goals, their ideas, and their next moves. They feel the need to announce everything they are working on because they want recognition before the work is even complete. But that constant talking weakens the power of your vision. The truth is, in its early stages, your vision is fragile. It is like a seed that has just been planted in the soil. If you expose it too soon, people can step on it, criticize it, or dismiss it before it has the chance to grow strong roots. Silence is the fence that protects that seed while it develops underground where no one can see it. When you stay silent, you stop inviting unnecessary opinions from people who do not understand your dream or who do not carry the same hunger as you. The reality is, not everyone around you wants to see you win. Some people will disguise their doubts as advice, and if you let their words sink into your mind, your belief in yourself starts to shrink. That is why silence is more than just keeping quiet. It is about protecting your energy and preserving the purity of your vision. By holding back from sharing every detail, you keep control over your dream. You stop giving outsiders the chance to project their insecurities onto your journey. You allow your goals to grow stronger in private until they are undeniable in public. Think about how many times people have talked about their plans out loud only to never follow through. They end up becoming known for talking instead of doing. When you keep things to yourself, you build a track record of execution rather than empty promises. People stop questioning your intentions because eventually your actions reveal themselves and speak louder than anything you could have announced. Silence becomes your shield, protecting not only your vision but also your credibility. When your moves appear without warning, the respect is different because no one saw it coming. That is the power of being quiet and letting your work do the talking. At the same time, silence also sharpens your focus. When you are not constantly explaining yourself to others, you are able to direct all of your attention to what truly matters, which is the work. Energy is the most valuable currency in the world, and where you put it determines the kind of results you create. Too often, people burn their energy trying to prove themselves with words. They feel like they have to convince everyone of how serious they are, how ambitious they are, or how successful they are going to be. But every time you waste energy trying to prove yourself verbally, you take away energy that could be fueling your actions. Silence allows you to conserve that energy and pour it directly into execution. Instead of explaining what you are about to do, you just do it. Instead of telling people how hard you are working, you actually work. The difference is massive because execution multiplies your energy while talking drains it. It is like the difference between spending money on something temporary versus investing it into something that grows over time. Words disappear the moment they are spoken, but actions continue to build and compound. That is why silence is a discipline that turns energy into results. When you practice silence, you also train yourself to stop seeking validation. This is one of the biggest distractions for most people. They want people to clap for them before they even deserve it. They want likes, comments, approval, and recognition without having put in the hours. But chasing that external validation makes you a slave to other people's opinions. It takes your focus away from your mission and places it on whether people believe in you or not. When you embrace silence, you detach from that need for validation. You start to realize that your vision only requires one person's belief, and that person is you. The beauty of silence is that it also helps you discover your own rhythm. You begin to learn how to move at your own pace instead of being rushed by outside pressure. Because when you are silent, there are no spectators waiting to see results. There are no deadlines you created just to impress people. There is only you and the work. That space gives you the patience to move strategically, to learn from your mistakes, and to make adjustments without everyone watching. In this way, silence becomes a safe space where growth can happen without judgment. Energy flows where focus goes, and when you live by that principle, you realize how powerful your silence is. Every ounce of energy that would have been wasted improving yourself to others is now fueling your growth. You no longer care about convincing anyone. You no longer feel the need to announce. You simply invest everything you have into the process, and over time, the results become so loud they cannot be ignored. Silence does not mean doing nothing. It means doing everything without distraction. It means taking all the power you have inside and pouring it into the work until success shows up naturally. Not everyone in your life deserves access to the deepest parts of your vision, and silence is one of the most effective ways to figure out who truly belongs in your circle. When you share every detail of your journey, you invite people into spaces they should have never entered. Some will pretend to support you but are only there to collect information. Others will silently compete, waiting for you to slip so they can feel better about their own lack of progress. Silence removes all that noise. It teaches you to move in a way where only the people who are genuinely connected to your growth will remain close. When you stop announcing every move, you'll see who continues to stand by you, even when they don't know exactly what's going on. That is how you separate loyalty from curiosity. Silence forces people to show their true intentions. Those who are only around because of what they think you can provide will eventually get frustrated when you stop feeding them details. They'll want updates, they'll want explanations, and when they can't get them, they'll drift away. On the other hand, the ones who respect your boundaries, the ones who don't pressure you to overshare, are the ones who understand what loyalty really means. They trust your process without needing constant reassurance. In this way, silence is not just a form of self-protection, it's also a filter that reveals who genuinely deserves a seat at your table. Think about how much energy is wasted trying to keep people included in things that were never theirs to begin with. By being silent, you cut off that drain. You are no longer performing for an audience. You are no longer explaining your moves to people who aren't invested in your success. You are no longer trying to please or prove yourself to people who may not even wish you well. The silence creates a barrier, and in that barrier you find peace. Your circle becomes tighter, stronger, and more authentic because only those who respect the silence remain. This lesson is powerful because it saves you from unnecessary setbacks. How many dreams have been slowed down because they were exposed to the wrong people too soon? How many plans have been sabotaged by someone who smiled in your face but worked against you behind your back? By choosing silence, you avoid giving those people weapons to use against you. You don't give them the blueprint. You don't give them your timeline. You don't give them the chance to manipulate or discourage you. Instead, you protect your progress until it's too strong to be stopped. Silence is your shield, and the more you use it, the more your vision grows without interference. At the same time, silence also trains you to value quality relationships over quantity. You begin to understand that it's not about how many people you can tell your plans to, but about how few you need to. One or two people who truly understand your journey are worth more than a crowd of people who are only there for the highlights. Silence creates intimacy with the right people and distance from the wrong ones. That balance allows you to keep your circle clean, and a clean circle is essential for long-term success. Now, when you shift into the idea that noise distracts while work attracts, you start to see another layer of why silence is so important. Noise is temporary, it feels good in the moment, but it doesn't build anything lasting. People who are addicted to noise are addicted to attention. They want to be seen before they've earned it. They want the spotlight before they've done the work. But when you're focused on attracting attention, you end up losing focus on creating results. The noise pulls you in different directions, chasing validation and applause that doesn't actually move your life forward. On the other hand, when you focus on the work itself, you don't have to chase recognition because recognition chases you. The results speak louder than any announcement you could ever make. People notice consistency. They notice growth. They notice the quiet grind that suddenly turns into undeniable success. That's the difference between chasing attention and attracting respect. Attention fades as soon as the noise dies down, but respect lasts because it's rooted in what you've actually accomplished. The problem with noise is that it tricks people into believing they are progressing when really, they are just performing. Talking about what you are going to do can feel almost as satisfying as doing it, but it produces nothing. It's empty movement. When you're caught up in noise, you're burning energy but not creating results. But when you dedicate yourself to the work, you're building something real. Every hour, every effort, every sacrifice compounds into tangible outcomes. That's why silence paired with hard work always outshines noise paired with nothing. It's also important to understand that the world pays attention to results, not promises. People may listen to what you say for a moment, but they'll always be watching what you do over time. If you create noise but no results, people will stop believing in you. But if you create results without noise, people will respect you even more because you've shown them instead of telling them. That respect cannot be faked. It's earned through silence, focus, and relentless execution. When you remove the noise, you also free yourself from distractions that keep you from unlocking your potential. You no longer waste time crafting the perfect story for others. You no longer invest energy into proving your worth through words. Instead, you put all of that energy into execution, and that execution attracts everything you were chasing in the first place. Opportunities come to those who are consistent in their craft, not those who are loud about it. Silence creates space for mastery, and mastery is what makes you magnetic. Noise may get people's attention, but it doesn't hold it. Work is what sustains it. You can trend for a moment by being loud, but you can build a legacy by being consistent. People forget the noise, but they never forget the results. That is why moving in silence is so powerful, because it ensures that your work speaks for itself. And when the work speaks, the world has no choice but to listen. When you start to respect the power of timing, you realize why silence is so important in making your success hit harder. Timing creates impact because it allows you to release your results at the moment when they are undeniable. If you rush to show your moves before they are ready, you weaken the effect. But when you stay quiet, build in the dark, and wait until your work has reached a level that cannot be ignored, you create a moment that shocks everyone watching. Silence builds suspense, and suspense multiplies the weight of your achievement. People don't expect it because you gave them nothing to anticipate. That element of surprise is powerful because it leaves a lasting impression. Think about the difference between someone who constantly announces what they are about to do and someone who simply shows up with the results fully formed. The first person creates expectations that may never be met, and when they fail to deliver, their credibility disappears. The second person operates in silence, doesn't promise, doesn't tease, doesn't boast, and then one day drops something so undeniable that people have no choice but to respect it. That is the effect of timing, and silence is what gives you the ability to control that timing. Silence also allows you to develop patience, which is one of the most underrated qualities in building success. Most people fail because they want results too quickly, and they ruin their progress by forcing it, but silence slows you down in the best way possible. It gives you the space to learn, to master your craft, and to prepare without the pressure of spectators watching your every move. When nobody is expecting anything from you, you can take the time to make sure that what you release is polished, complete, and impactful. This patience becomes your advantage, because while others are racing to get attention, you are preparing to build something that lasts. Timing also teaches you that everything does not need to happen at once. There is a season for planting and a season for harvesting. Silence is the planting season, when the work is being done underground, away from the light, away from the applause. That time is sacred because it allows your goals to grow strong roots. Then when the season changes and you reveal the results, the harvest speaks for itself. People often forget that a flower does not bloom overnight, but when it does, it becomes impossible to ignore. Your success works the same way. Silence is not about hiding forever. It is about preparing until your timing creates maximum impact. Now, if you connect this with the discipline that silence builds, you see how both principles work together. Discipline is the foundation of greatness, and silence is the practice that strengthens it. When you choose to stay quiet, you are choosing to resist the temptation of attention. You are teaching yourself that approval is not the goal, execution is. That choice requires discipline because the urge to prove yourself is strong. The urge to share every move is powerful. But when you can resist that urge and stay committed to the grind, you train your mind to focus on what truly matters. Silence becomes a form of self-control. It keeps you from wasting hours explaining yourself, defending yourself, or proving yourself to people who do not matter. Every time you hold back from oversharing, you are strengthening your discipline muscle. You are reminding yourself that success is not about talking, it is about showing. This discipline seeps into other areas of your life. You become more focused in your work, more intentional in your habits, more consistent in your routines. Silence sets the tone for a lifestyle that is built on discipline. Discipline also means delaying gratification, and silence plays a big role in that. Instead of announcing your goals and getting a quick rush of validation, you withhold that gratification until you have actually earned it. You stop looking for small doses of approval and start focusing on the larger reward of success. This shift in mindset is critical because it teaches you to build long-term. Most people quit because they want applause now. They want people to notice them immediately. But if you can stay disciplined in silence, you are preparing yourself for rewards that are far bigger than temporary validation. When you live with discipline, you also become harder to distract. Silence helps with this because it cuts off the noise of constant conversations, gossip, and unnecessary attention. You don't waste time trying to explain your moves, so you can dedicate more energy to perfecting them. You don't waste energy defending your vision, so you have more strength to chase it. The less you talk, the more you work. The more you work, the more disciplined you become. Over time, that discipline creates a level of consistency that makes you unstoppable. Silence and discipline together separate those who are serious from those who are pretending. Anyone can talk about discipline, but only those who are truly committed can stay silent while they grind. Only those with real vision can resist the urge to prove themselves early. This is why silence is not weakness but strength. It shows control, it shows patience, and it shows the ability to delay gratification for something greater. When you master that level of discipline, success becomes a natural outcome because the habits you've built in silence prepare you to sustain the results once they arrive. At some point, you realize that words can only go so far. And that is when you learn to let your work speak louder than anything you could ever say. People may doubt what you tell them, they may question your intentions, and they may even dismiss your vision if it only lives in your conversations. But when you put the hours in, when you sacrifice quietly and consistently, the results eventually build a voice of their own. Your work becomes undeniable proof that your dedication is real. The beauty of this is that no one can argue with evidence. They might debate your ideas, they might challenge your opinions, but they cannot deny the results that stand in front of them. That is why silence is such a powerful tool. It forces you to place your energy into producing, not persuading. It keeps you grounded in action instead of wasting time in endless explanations. When you commit to letting your work speak, you take the pressure off yourself to always prove something in the moment. Instead of trying to convince others that you are moving forward, you stay quiet and let time reveal the truth. Over weeks, months, and years, the body of work you build becomes your loudest testimony. That consistency builds trust and respect in ways words never could. The people around you begin to recognize that you are not someone who talks for recognition, but someone who shows results that inspire. And when your work carries that kind of weight, it travels further than your voice ever could. It begins to inspire strangers, create opportunities, and open doors you didn't even know were there. Letting your work speak louder also protects you from the trap of needing approval. If you build a habit of constantly talking about your goals, you start depending on other people's reactions to keep you motivated. But when you learn to stay silent, your motivation becomes internal. It comes from your vision, your discipline, and your progress. That inner drive is far stronger and more sustainable because it doesn't collapse when people stop clapping. Silence trains you to stop performing for the crowd and start performing for your purpose. And when you reach that place, your work becomes authentic because it is no longer driven by what people think. It is driven by what you know you are meant to achieve. The most powerful thing about letting your work speak is the element of surprise. People may underestimate you, they may ignore you, they may even doubt you. But when you show up with results that cannot be ignored, you catch them off guard. That moment of realization is priceless because it demands respect. Suddenly, those who once doubted you are forced to acknowledge the progress you made while they weren't paying attention. Silence turns your work into a weapon, and results become the voice that cuts through every doubt, every distraction, and every negative opinion. But even beyond proving people wrong, the bigger reward is proving yourself right. Every milestone your work achieves in silence becomes evidence of your discipline, your vision, and your persistence. Each result is a reminder that you stayed consistent when no one was watching. You showed up, you sacrificed, and you executed without seeking applause. That kind of self-respect is more valuable than any recognition because it strengthens your belief in yourself. And with belief comes even greater levels of work, which continues the cycle of results speaking louder than words ever could. Now when you connect this with the idea that success is natural when you align with purpose, everything starts to make sense. You don't have to force what is truly meant for you. When your actions are aligned with your vision and your purpose, success flows in a way that feels natural. It doesn't mean the process is easy, but it means that the grind has meaning. And when the grind has meaning, you are able to stay consistent even when things get hard. That alignment is what keeps you patient, disciplined, and focused, because you know deep down that what you are working for is bigger than temporary rewards. Purpose gives silence power because it reminds you that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You are not in competition with the noise, you are not racing for attention, you are walking your own path with clarity. That clarity creates a flow where your actions match your vision and your vision matches your values. When everything is aligned like that, success becomes a byproduct, not something you have to chase desperately. Opportunities come, relationships form, and growth happens because you are moving in the right direction with authenticity. When you are aligned with your purpose, you stop forcing timelines. You understand that the marathon requires patience, and silence helps you embrace that patience. You no longer feel rushed to show results before they are ready. You no longer feel pressure to announce progress just to prove you are moving. Instead, you trust the process. You trust that every silent hour of work, every unseen sacrifice, and every quiet moment of discipline is adding up behind the scenes. That trust allows you to move with peace instead of anxiety. It gives you confidence that your time will come, and when it does, the results will naturally reveal themselves without you having to chase recognition. Success is natural because it grows from purpose the way fruit grows from a tree. The tree doesn't need to force the fruit to appear. It simply grows in season because the roots are healthy and the soil is right. In the same way, when your purpose is strong and your actions are aligned, success grows as a natural result of the work. Silence is the soil that protects that growth, discipline is the root system, and purpose is the sunlight that guides the process. Together, they ensure that your results are not only visible but lasting. The beauty of living like this is that you are no longer a slave to comparison. You don't measure yourself against the noise of others because you know your path is unique. You don't waste time trying to outshine people because your shine comes naturally when you walk in purpose. That peace of mind allows you to put your head down and focus entirely on execution, which only makes your results louder in the long run. And when those results speak, they tell a story of patience, focus, and purpose that no amount of noise could ever replicate. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It is the discipline of protecting your vision, the patience of trusting your timing, and the strength of allowing your work to carry the message. When you stop chasing validation and start focusing on execution, you find out that success does not need to be forced. It flows naturally when you are aligned with your purpose. Every step you take in private, every sacrifice you make in silence, and every hour you invest without applause is building a foundation that no one can shake. The marathon of life rewards those who can move with clarity, patience, and consistency, and silence is the key that makes it all possible. Thank you for watching and giving your time and energy to this message. Stay focused, stay patient, and remember that the marathon continues.